Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Shit's about to hit the fan. Welcome to Unsanctioned Thursdays on Wrestling with Freddie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unsanctioned Thursdays, the show where we talk wrestling and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. With me, as always, is Mr. Jeff Dye, back from promoting his new comedy special, The Last Cowboy on Earth. Just kidding. No, he didn't say on Earth. He knows there's other cowboys out there.
No, it's
but
Last
Jeff,
Cowboy in L.A.
In LA, you are the last one in LA. But before we get into wrestling, you were in Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell the people why you were there and what you were doing?
Well, I was in Austin, Texas doing shows to promote the special at Comedy Mothership, doing stand-up comedy, but then also I did Lauren Compton's podcast called First Date with Lauren Compton. I did Matt McCusker's podcast, great guy, check that out. And then I did the Joe Rogan Experience, which was awesome. Joe, it's my second time on. I did it back in February the first time. Me and Joe chopped it up, and then I played the trailer for the special on Joe Rogan's podcast at the end. It was great. Austin is the best. I will be buying a home there soon.
I saw Joe Rogan do stand-up comedy in the mid-90s, like 95, 96. And this was a time when I was still writing down comedians' jokes in my journal. And I would write how big the crowd would laugh, right? I'd done this since I was 12 years old. And I was probably 19, 20 when I stopped. It was right around after I saw this set that Joe did that I stopped doing it. I started booking jobs and wasn't going to comedy clubs anymore because I was working, and they were horror movies. So it was night. And that's when you guys like to tell jokes. Day jokes don't work as well. He had this joke, and I don't even know if I can say it on the podcast. He had done his lion bit where he talked about like the Discovery Channel, and he would do all his like the sound effects of the lions like mating and all that. And then he just randomly goes, you ever just answer the phone at a mall? And when they ask for somebody to tell them they're not there, he goes, I used to do that all the time. He's like, I'd answer a phone and be like, Mike, no, Mike's not here. No, we caught him blowing a guy in the bathroom. He can't work here anymore. And the crowd laughed so hard. And I wrote I would do like 5 smiley faces if the crowd was like really, really laughing hard. And for his whole set, it was like 4 and 5 smiley faces all the way down after every joke.
Oh, really?
I think I still have that journal somewhere. I have all the others, so I'm sure I have that one. It would just be looking through it. But it was like Paul Mooney went up that night. Joe went up that night. This guy named Mike Binder went up that night.
Yeah, I'm friends with Mike Binder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's back into comedy. Yeah, I know
Mike. I know Mike a little bit. He was a really, really nice guy, man. I'm sure he still is a really nice guy, but he was always really nice to me as a kid. I met him when I was like 14, 15.
He's been very pivotal in my life because of sobriety. He's been very, very, very good to me that way. Good man.
I saw him have a set that didn't go well, and the way he handled it at the end and the way he dealt with the crowd, I thought was so like classy and smooth. And just he was such a professional. And I think I was 14 when I first saw this. He still thanked everybody and was so like appreciative and grateful, but they weren't vibing with him. And I thought it was a really good set. So I was like writing the jokes down as quick as I could. You know, I'd leave out certain words because I'm trying to keep up with him because he would tell like stories up there. I really liked him. He was nice to me. He liked my dad and was very complimentary about my father. So I always had a soft spot in my heart for that guy. Anyway.
I was going to say about the thing you said about Joe Rogan, us comics love those kind of stories, not because of any other reason than you're reminding us of a joke we used to do. So like he might hear that story and go, oh man, I haven't even thought about that joke in forever. And like, it'll make him all excited about it again, unless he did it on a special or an album or something. But if sometimes we will go, oh, I'm going to start working on that again. That was a funny joke. And so we love stories like that.
When I get back to the States, if I think about it, I'll look through those journals. And if I can find his set, I'll give it to you and you can share it with him if you want, or you can throw it away, whatever. It doesn't matter.
No.
Well, I am in Australia, Sydney, Australia. And if you listen to yesterday's podcast, you'll know that I killed a giant spider, and I'm still a little traumatized by it. I really thought I would get away without seeing one in the house. That just was brutal. Yeah, I'm still really like shook. I don't even want to record. You know what? This is the end of the episode, guys. I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to get an exterminator stat. Yeah, enjoy. See you next week. Bye. But let me tell you guys what I'm doing out here. Yesterday, I get a few days to adjust because it's like a day and a half ahead of y'all. We record these on Monday mornings in Los Angeles. It's actually Tuesday morning and Monday afternoon in Los Angeles, but Tuesday morning in Australia. And I woke up at like 5:30 so we could bring these episodes to you guys from around the world. But don't worry, I'm jet lagged. So I was up early anyway, without an alarm. Thank you very much. Yeah, I got to do the makeup and hair test yesterday. So they tried to make me look all pretty and gave me a little cleanup around my neck. I got a few more days to let my hair grow out a little bit more. And they put the makeup on. I'm looking all sunburnt and suntanned because he works on a boat. His name's Ray. If you guys didn't see the first one, he's a fisherman. If you haven't seen the first one, check it out. It's called I Know You Did Last Summer. And then I got to meet some of the crew and some of the cast. I know the director really well, but I haven't gotten to shoot anything yet. My first shoot day will be right after we record next week. We'll be on nights because it's a horror movie and scary stuff doesn't happen during the day. Just watch any horror movie. I'll prove it. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I can't say too much because there's like a lot of cool, scary, sneaky stuff in here that would spoil the movie. And I hate people that spoil movies. Kaiser Soze was Kevin Spacey. I'll punch you right in the face, straight up. My wife one time wrecked, what was that movie? The Sixth Sense. And like, 20 minutes before anyone figured it out, just all of a sudden she goes, "Oh my God, he's dead." And
that's like, a brutal one to spoil too. Even if she's just guessing, that's a brutal one to spoil.
It popped out and it was like half whispered, but there were like people sitting around us, and I just I hear the guy behind us go, "Oh fuck!" And I grabbed Sarah and I was like,
"Your wife now."
I was like, "Sarah, we're leaving, or I'm getting in a fight, and I don't want to have to beat this guy up." And we left the movie. We left the theater, man. I took her out. But we got not an argument, but I was like, "Yo, you can't do that." She's like, "I know, I didn't mean to." It just shocked me, and it came out. I was like, "Yeah, you can never do that again." I gave her the Kaiser Soze example. My buddy's friend, he was a really good wrestler, so I didn't fight him because he probably would have won. But I yelled at him. He wrecked the Usual Suspects movie for a lot of people, and I was there when that happened. The same guy also wrecked Seven and told everyone it was Kevin Spacey in the movies. But again, he was a wrestler, so nobody could really do anything to him because he would just fuck him up. He was kind of a dick and would do it on purpose and be like, "Yeah, you want some?" And then chicken wing some guy and make him fucking cry in front of his girl. But yeah, so yeah, don't ruin movies. But if you haven't,
I used to have a buddy who was named Tony Revis, and he wasn't trying to spoil things, similar to the story about your wife, but like he would just be like, "Here's what I think is going to happen," and then I would watch wrestling, and I was like, he just knows wrestling so well that he didn't mean to ruin this whole episode for me, but he's just nailed everything. He predicted everything, and so I feel like Alex is like that, our producer, like. If me and Alex hung out all the time and watched wrestling, I'd go, "You don't get to tell me what you think's going to happen. Let's just watch it."
Macaulay Culkin's the same way. I won't watch to the point where I stopped going to shows with him. Yeah. We would gamble and he would bet. Like, you guys want to know some bets. You want to make some real money. Just ask Macaulay Culkin on social media who's going to win the match, and he'll tell you whether he's seen the storyline or not. And that motherfucker's always right. Always right. That guy's taken a lot of money off me over the years. All right. Oh, real quick, WWE is confirmed that the debut episode of Raw on Netflix is going to be at the Intuit Center in Los Angeles, California on January 6th. If you're going to be there, keep your eyes peeled because your boy's going to be there too. Oh, that's right. Freddie P is going to be in the house. I won't be able to say, "Hey, though, I'm going to be watching some kids. I'm bringing my son and some of his friends, and I'm going to be a watchdog." So I won't be able to like take pictures or do any of that stuff. I got young men to look after and make sure they're not effing up, get them backstage so they can meet a couple wrestlers and have some of their dreams come true. But I'll be with a squad of like 4 or 5 little dudes, my son and some of his homies, and they're going to their first professional wrestling match. My daughter's been to a bunch. She likes it more. I'm excited for it to be on Netflix. It would be much easier to watch down here in Australia. I'll tell you that. I've had to bribe. I've had to sell my soul. If I have a third kid, that kid is sold already. I've had to do everything possible to keep up with wrestling so that we can give you guys this lovely podcast each and every week. So let's talk some wrestling.
Let's do it.
Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins still hate each other, Jeff, which is a good thing. Hate is good. And it's very motivating. We also saw The Miz align himself with the Final Testament and get slashed over his friggin' eye and blood was pouring out. It looked so awesome. It was like one of the few times I wasn't grossed out because it wasn't like that visible. You could see the blood, but you couldn't quite see where the cut was. So I didn't get grossed out. Speaking of cuts, did you watch the boxing fights over the weekend on Netflix?
I did. Very disappointing.
It was
boring.
disappointing. But you knew that going in, right? You knew it was going to suck.
We all hoped, we were all living on hope. And when hope disappoints you, it's very frustrating.
Well, tell me what you were hoping for. Just a good night of fights, or what specifically?
Well, so I like UFC, right? That's going to be real fighting. And I like boxing, which you believe to be real fighting. But when you enter in some YouTube stars and maybe some retired old guys that are now more personality than athlete, and you enter in all these things, it brings out the worst in everyone. Everybody was like, oh, Jake Paul isn't a real boxer and Mike Tyson's old and this is rigged and this is faked. It brought out the worst opinions in everyone that I know. And so when the match didn't live up to the hopes of maybe Jake Paul getting knocked out or maybe some ear biting or some sort of larger than life social current event, since none of that happened and it was just like an old tired Mike Tyson and a Jake Paul with a knockout, not getting knocked out, not knocking him out. It then just again brought out the worst in everyone. I knew this crap was dumb and I knew Jake Paul this and he fought a 60-year-old man. So it just brought out the worst in everybody before and after the fight. And it was very disappointing. And I can't imagine anybody being more upset about it than Netflix.
Well, first of all, Netflix, step your buffering up.
That's another reason it was bad for him.
That was really frustrating. Did you think the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight was a real fight and it was just a 58-year-old who couldn't seem to get off versus a young man who's, training to be a boxer, but doesn't have the full complement of skills that a full-time boxer would have? Or did you feel it was an agreement between two gentlemen? Hey, let's not get too hurt here. What did you think?
My personal opinion is that Jake Paul paid Mike Tyson to lose this fight because it gives Jake Paul the rub. It makes Jake Paul a legitimate thing. Also, Mike doesn't care. Mike Tyson already had the greatest boxing career ever. Yeah. And Mike Tyson is all about death to the ego. He doesn't care about this stuff. He thinks boxing is garbage. He thinks old Mike is garbage. He thinks all the things he had to go through to become the man that he is now was evil and it was wrong. I think he doesn't care.
I've heard him
and I don't
speak
think
on
he
these
cares.
things,
So he's like, sure, if it's going to make my kids happy financially and it's going to make my life, I'm happy to lose. I don't care. Let's kill that old Mike Tyson. Let's kill the idea of that old Mike Tyson. Let's kill the legend, the legacy. Kill it. Go ahead. I don't mind. I'll take a fall for $20 million. I'll do 8 rounds. Don't knock me out, but I'll lose a match to you for 20 mil. And also Mike Tyson could have 100 of his buddies go gamble on it and make some money. Jake Paul could have 100 of his buddies go gamble on it and make some money. His boxing has famously been predetermined in a lot of ways historically.
It's interesting that you said that. I was watching the fight. I was FaceTiming a friend of mine, a former world champion. I won't say his name because I don't have his permission to say it, although he probably wouldn't care. He knows the boxing game really, really well, inside and out. He's a multi-time champion. He was an Olympic medalist. Dude's been around. And we're watching the fights. We're watching Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Amanda just got her head split open because Katie Taylor just rushes in with her head first. Hands down, head first, man. It was gross and not what you want to see out of a boxing fight, certainly. But then it got to the main event, and I don't remember which round it was. I believe it was 2 or 3. And he said, look what Mike just did. Look what Mike just did. And Mike threw a left hand that connected. And it was kind of a jab, but the way he was squared up, it was a stiffer jab. And then you saw him kind of hesitate on it and almost be like, whoops, and sort of stopped his body. And he was like, oh no. And I said, what? And he goes, Mike's not going to hurt him. And I said, cause he can't. He said, cause he won't. He said, they have an agreement. He's like, they have an agreement for sure. But he said that stuff is in the contract. You knock my guy out and you don't get paid what we agreed on getting paid. So once he said that, and he was like, Mike just pulled up, and I kind of saw it. I gave Mike, I was sort of like, well, maybe, he's old and he can't get off. The more I thought about it, the more I'm starting to lean towards what you said at the top of it, which was Mike, that whole death to the ego and stuff. I've seen Mike speak on this, and I
multiple times.
I think you're dead on, because that's word for word what he has said about himself. So I could definitely
also, like,
see it going
if
that
anybody
way.
thinks, oh, you're being conspiratorial, or
Maybe,
my gosh, he would never do that, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. Even boxers who love boxing, who have a tremendous amount of pride in boxing and are the age appropriate to be boxing, unlike Mike is, they'll take falls because they're like, we can make so much money on the rematch, or, oh, you win this one, but then we have like a big comeback. Like they're storytelling even in boxing. And so it's like, but now take away that Mike doesn't care about boxing and he hates his old self and he has no ego. Like, why wouldn't he take 20 million and go, yeah, if this young guy wants to, he thinks he's big time, he wants to be, but then I'll let him win. I don't care. I'll take the money. I want the security. I'll let him do this. I don't care about old Mike.
Yeah. I've heard him break down and cry talking about who he used to be and how much he doesn't like that version and how scary that version is.
It's all garbage. All those belts, man. All that crap, it's all garbage to him. Yeah,
he doesn't. Yeah, I wish Mike was kinder to himself. I wish he looked at himself as, he was my generation's heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? So it was like, I wish he could feel the love and accept the love that people have for his contribution to boxing a little bit more, because it seems like he doesn't like that person at all and doesn't want to have anything to do with that person. And we all have, dark sides. I think everybody has a dark side. You may not get in touch with it, but I think it's there within everyone. I just wish he'd give himself a break. That's all. But yeah, I thought after talking to my guy and hearing you, I'm starting to lean more. It was like pro wrestling. It was a work. Or no, it was a shoot or work. Yeah, a work.
What the whole thing?
All right, well, let's talk a little bit of wrestling. Let's go to, by the way, whoever's doing the logos for WWE needs to be fired immediately. You got lazy. Friday Night SmackDown, and now you're gonna have Monday Night Baw, not Raw, Baw. They turned the R into a B, and they turned the D into an S. So we got SmackDown and Monday Night Baw. So way to go on that. Those look really friggin' cool. Like who? Do you know how many people have to see these logos in order for one of these logos to get approved in a corporate, publicly traded company like that? Like 30 people go through that logo minimum. And then it gets to Triple H's desk with like, here's the 4 best. What were the other 3 that were so bad that you picked the ones that changed the spelling of the words to the point where they're not even words? Like, I thought SmackDown was horrible. Monday
logos
Night
in general. Oh. Like everybody was sharing like the old World Series logos for like all the years leading up, and everything in the 90s and 2000s were awesome looking logos. And they've just slowly gotten worse. This year it just says World Series. There's not like any like art or anything. They just wrote it. And you're like, what happened to all the logos?
Well, at least they spelled it right.
But the internet's better. Things shouldn't have gotten worse. The internet is more alive and better than it's ever been. It's shocking.
Yeah, man, the logos are rough. We need to help them step their logo game up. I think we need to come up with some logos, post them on social, let the people speak, get them out there. All right, let's talk some Friday Night SmackDown, because Monday Night Raw, it's still Raw until January 6th. Then it's going to be Raw. So Monday Night Raw, we saw The Miz, Gunther and Damian. Gunther's never losing that title, right?
I don't foresee that at all.
No. They're making Damian look so good, and his promos are so much better in this storyline than when in the storyline that he lost, that I'm sad he's going to lose this time. Like they should have switched the promos, like and switched the victories. Like, his promos are the promos of a winner, and I don't think he can win this match that they have coming up. We'll get into our predictions on next week's episode. Yeah, Gunther's not going to lose that. Let's move on to Friday Night SmackDown, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. I mentioned last week Cody Rhodes was a man without a story. No more. He has a story. Kevin Owens has given us that story. And he's now a champion that's not going to be hunted. He's a champion that is the hunter. And this is a cool twist because he's been a babyface with a target on his back ever since he won it and he finished his story. And for the first time, he's now seeking out people, which is what, if you're evil Kevin Owens, that's exactly what you wanted in the first place, because you showed mercy in that first match in Germany like an idiot. I'm Kevin Owens right now. I'm channeling. I'm punishing myself because I didn't take out the knee when I knew the knee was bad. I'm so stupid. That's why I lost the match. I'm such an idiot. Never again. Never again. How can I get another match? I know what I'll do. I'm going to fuck up his best friend, Randy Orton. See, on Thursdays, we cuss, baby. I'm going to fuck up Randy Orton. I'm going to break his neck. We're going to
add blood.
Don't worry. A giant spider will attack me any moment. But Jesus Christ, with a sword. He'll be carrying a katana blade. That's how big the spiders are out here. So he beats down Randy Orton and puts him in a hospital. Thanks for that, by the way. That was revenge that Kevin got on behalf of me because I'm too old to do it now. So I appreciate that. I texted him. I was like, just handle Orton. And he handled it. Randy's wife is like, oh, my God, Randy's in the hospital. Oh, my God, Cody, please do something. And Cody's like, I can't deal with when the girl cries. When the girl cries, that's my kryptonite. That's my kryptonite, Nick Aldis. Randy's wife was crying. Give me Kevin Owens. And Nick Aldis is like, I'm not doing it, bro. This shit has to get handled. He said it with a British accent. This has to be handled. We have to do this properly. He can't be on television until we figure this out internally. And Cody's like, look, Mal, I don't care if you're British and I don't care if you wrestled. You're going to give me Kevin Owens. There's going to be a problem. I'll show up at his house. And he's a very motivated champion, Jeff. He's not motivated to defend his title. It has nothing to do with the title. He's there to fight for his friend the same way I'd fight for you. If a stand-up comic came and jacked you up, his ass would be straight grass. I'm telling you right now. And even if I couldn't beat him, I know guys that could beat him. So don't worry. I got dudes that got my back. But I like this Cody Rhodes. He's got a fire lit under his ass for the first time since he won the belt. He's actually got a real motivation to fight other than just being hunted. And I like Cody the Hunter. I think he's cool. I think he's cooler than Craven the Hunter. That's what I think. What about you, sir?
I don't think you can put it any better than what you just said. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all of it. Also, why is Nick Aldis such a big part of all of this? It's very confusing.
They've really put a spotlight on both general managers the way I wish they put a spotlight on regular wrestling managers. And so I think that's the explanation. Whether we like it or not is a different conversation. But I think they're really trying to highlight the general manager and give them a bigger part of the show.
Yeah, it feels like a little forced at times, especially since the way they do it just kind of overnight. It's just kind of like it goes from, hey, this is the new general manager. And then all of a sudden the general manager is doing all these things and you're like, what the hell is going on? But anyways, I love KO. I love Cody Rhodes. I don't give a crap about Nick Aldis. I love Randy Orton. So I don't know how to feel about it, but
you heard it here, people. Yeah. Jeff Dye hates the NWA. He hates the NWA.
That's all right. Yeah. Print it.
All right. Well, then let's get to something that I think you will like. LA Knight.
Love
LA Knight. We love LA Knight. He wears cool vests. He rejects Sami Zayn's invitation to join their team at War Games, saying he's got his own shit to deal with, like Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. And by the way, he had an amazing match with this dude, Humberto Carrillo, who is usually there to get beat up for Santos. But when you give this guy a chance to wrestle, like, holy shit, he's really, really, really good. But all of this is nonsense. It's all fluff. The whole match is fluff, even though it's a good match. It's all fluff, Jeff, because when the match is over and LA Knight wins, it's the return of someone that I love very, very much. And he kicked LA Knight's ass, and he came in dressed in black, and he looked like a friggin' samurai from anime. And it was the return of Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes.
And he looked so great. How cool did he look, dude?
Finally, we're tapping into the horror stuff, right? Which I'm always talking about, like, oh, horror this, horror that. And that's why Bray Wyatt's cool. And that's why Undertaker's cool. And that's why Kane's cool. Tap into the horror, tap into the horror. And then wrestling's all Japanese. Well, Japanese horror is one of the things America's been stealing from a lot. And like Japanese horror is like one of the most popular things in Japanese culture. Also and guess what? Shinsuke did it. And I'm so happy. This looks straight out of a Japanese horror film, and I love it.
He looked so awesome, you guys. He has these like flowing dark black robes like half robe, half pant. Like he just looked, so you couldn't even see his face. It looked straight out of anime. It was just awesome. I'm so glad to see him back. Someone with LA Knight that we believe can beat LA Knight. Although I thought there was a chance that Santos could as well, but this could be special, and these two could really tear a house down. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. I hope it's not just on TV, and I hope they give them a premium live event, and I hope this goes on for more than one match. It should. Otherwise, you brought him back. Even if he loses, it's got to be like over 3 matches. Otherwise, you're just jobbing out Shinsuke, and he's looking awesome while he's getting jobbed out, which I don't think would work. So it'd be cool if it would go back and forth a little bit, or if he even could, take it off LA Knight, and then you find another story for LA. But yeah, man, I was so excited to see this. I saw it online before I saw the match. Also, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Jimmy Uso had some concern backstage about not having a 5th member for the team. LA Knight's like, nah, y'all can kiss my ass. Seth Rollins, kiss my ass. Everybody kiss my ass. Nobody's having it. They got in a fight outside with the other bloodline. Bronson Reed comes out. Bronson Reed freaking kills everybody. I mean, everybody. You loved it. You loved seeing Bronson Reed smash Roman Reigns. And it led us all the way to a backstage segment with Roman Reigns, whose ego has not allowed him to form the perfect team. It barely allowed Jey Uso back in until he finally showed him some love. But he picked up his phone, Jeff. He picked up, I think it was an iPhone. Yeah, good guys are allowed iPhones. Did you know that the company, Apple iPhone, if your character in a movie is a bad guy, they won't allow them to have an iPhone?
Really?
There's clothing companies that won't let you wear their clothes if you're a bad guy, or if you die in the movie, you can't wear their brand.
That is stupid.
There's cool companies like Lacoste with the alligator that are like, yo, fuck it. You could be evil. You could get blood all over us, but we don't care. We're Lacoste. We got an alligator on the front of our shirt. So anyway, Roman is in the room by himself, and he picks up his iPhone because he's a good guy, so they'll allow him to use it. He picks up his iPhone and he says 3 words, Jeff. Call the wise man. And the whole crowd goes crazy. Paul Heyman's back. Yeah. Boop, boop, beep. We're sorry. The number you dialed has been disconnected. And the whole crowd, all the air just went out of the arena, bro. I don't know if that was the goal, but all the air went out of the arena, and they didn't even boo. They just went, oh. Like, it was just like everyone got punched in the stomach. I thought it was awesome. I don't know if WWE thought it was awesome. I thought it was awesome. And it means soon we will get the return of the wise man. But like I said in last week's episode, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, you will not see the OTC win until Paul Heyman's back in the fold. They have to have their full old school bloodline with the wise man before they're going to be in perfect position. I think Paul will have a lot to do with the eventual victory as well. So they're going to keep losing, and it's going to be tough until Heyman returns, the greatest manager in the business, Mr. Paul Heyman. But that was the end of Friday Night SmackDown. They still haven't changed the logo, which is just wild to me, man. It's so bad. And so is the new Monday Night Raw. Like, that's going to be so bad. It was a great end to the episode. It's a great story that they're telling. I love how long they've been able to stretch this out, how much juice they've been able to give it. It's not always a 10, but a story can't always be a 10. There have to be chapters that are 7s and 8s, chapters that are 5s and 6s, so that the 10 means more. They've given us so much good stuff with the bloodline, dude. And I know you loved it too.
I did. It's perfect. I love the storytelling. I'm fine with it. I like the way it's going. Bring Paul Heyman back. When can we have the wise man? I need him there.
I got a question for you.
Yep.
I know Seth Rollins said, F Roman Reigns. I'll never work with him again. He's unprofessional. He didn't say that, but he said he'll never work with him again. But with Bronson Reed being on the new bloodline, that could give Seth a reason to join the old bloodlines, also the Shield roots, which are always there. Do you see a world where Seth Rollins becomes the 5th member of the old bloodline at War Games?
I would be shocked, but weirder things have happened. But it kind of makes sense if it's just for War Games. But if it's in the actual storyline and he's part of it, I don't see that happening. I think like you'd see a lot of like for matches, people doing things like that. But I can't see him being in the actual bloodline story.
Just for the match. Yeah, just for the match.
Just for the match. I could totally see that.
Well, sir, do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to share with the people before we say goodbye?
just that we love you, and I'm so glad to be back. I wasn't able to be here last week, and I'm happy to be back. I love listening to these even when I'm not on the episodes, and we love your guys' message and feedback, and yeah, makes me happy that we do this. That's all.
You guys don't forget to subscribe and share the podcast with your friends. We thank you. We love you. Like Jeff said, appreciate you guys every week. We love you so much. I'm doing this from Australia, and I'm going to continue to do it so long as I'm not working and we can all get together. But I shouldn't be here more than 3.5 weeks. So I think you guys are going to get 3 from down under. And I'm going to haul ass back to LA, and it'll be business as usual. And I'll see you guys at Monday Night Raw at the Intuit Center, January 6th, Los Angeles, California. On behalf of Jeff Dye, I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. Peace.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.